You tell yourself, I'll start tomorrow. Not today, not now. Tomorrow. It sounds harmless. It even sounds responsible. Like you're planning, preparing, waiting for the right moment. But that moment never comes. Because tomorrow is not a plan. It's an illusion. An illusion that feels real enough to believe, but distant enough to delay action. And the more you believe in it, the more control it takes over your life. You think you're making a decision, but you're actually avoiding one. Because starting today feels uncomfortable. It requires effort, focus, discipline. And most importantly, it requires you to face reality. So instead, your mind creates a softer option. Tomorrow. A word that removes pressure from the present. A word that gives you relief without requiring action. And that's why it's so dangerous. Because every time you say tomorrow, you feel like you've done something, like you've made progress, like you've committed. But in reality, nothing has changed. You're still in the same place, with the same goals, the same intentions, the same excuses. This is how the illusion works. It doesn't stop you completely. It just delays you again and again. And delay feels different from quitting. Quitting is obvious. You know you've stopped. But delaying? It feels temporary. It feels justified. It feels safe. So you keep doing it. I'll start tomorrow. I just need a little more time. I'm not ready yet. This isn't the right moment. And every time you say it, you reinforce the habit of not starting. Because your brain learns something important. It learns that intention is enough. That thinking about doing something is the same as doing it. But it's not. And over time, this creates a dangerous pattern. You become someone who plans but doesn't act, who thinks but doesn't move, who wants but never starts. And the worst part? You still believe you're trying. Because in your mind, you haven't given up. You're just waiting. But waiting for what? The perfect time? The perfect mindset? The perfect version of yourself? That version doesn't exist, and it never will. Because action is what creates readiness, not the other way around. You don't feel ready and then start. You start and then become ready. But the illusion of tomorrow flips this. It makes you believe that waiting leads to clarity, that delay leads to improvement, that more time will somehow make things easier. But it doesn't. It makes things heavier. Because every day you delay, the task doesn't disappear. It grows. It becomes more intimidating, more uncomfortable, more difficult to face. And at the same time, your confidence starts to shrink. Because every time you don't start, you send a message to yourself. I can't follow through. I don't do what I say. I'm not disciplined. And slowly, that becomes your identity. Not because it's true, but because you've repeated it enough times. This is the hidden damage of the tomorrow mindset. It's not just about lost time, it's about lost self-trust. You stop believing in your own words, your own plans, your own intentions. Because deep down, you know you're not going to act on them. And once that trust is gone, everything becomes harder. Motivation fades. Discipline feels impossible. Even small tasks feel heavy. Because you're not just fighting the task anymore. You're fighting the version of yourself that keeps delaying it. And the longer this continues, the stronger the pattern becomes. It becomes automatic, a default response. Whenever something feels difficult, your mind doesn't think about how to handle it. It thinks about how to delay it. Tomorrow. And just like that, the cycle repeats. But here's the truth. There is nothing special about tomorrow. It doesn't have more time. It doesn't have more motivation. It doesn't have a better version of you waiting inside it. Tomorrow is just another version of today. And if you can't start today, you won't start tomorrow. Because the problem isn't time. The problem is avoidance. You're not waiting for the right moment. You're avoiding the discomfort of starting. And until you face that, nothing changes. So how do you break this illusion? It doesn't start with motivation. It doesn't start with a big plan. It starts with awareness. You have to catch yourself in the moment you say, "I'll start tomorrow." And instead of accepting it, you question it. Why not today? What am I actually avoiding? What am I afraid of? Because behind every delay, there's a reason. Fear of failure. Fear of discomfort. Fear of not being good enough. And when you see that clearly, the illusion starts to lose its power. Then comes the second step. Action. Not big action, not perfect action. Just movement. Something small, something immediate. Because action breaks the pattern. It interrupts the delay. It tells your brain, we don't wait, we move. And the more you do that, the weaker the tomorrow habit becomes. You don't need to fix everything. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to stop postponing your life. Because that's what this really is. Every time you say tomorrow, you're pushing your life forward, delaying your growth, your progress, your potential. And time doesn't wait. It keeps moving, whether you act or not. So the real question is not, when will you start? The real question is, how many tomorrows will you waste before you finally decide that today is enough? Because it is. Not perfect, not ideal, but enough. Enough to begin. Enough to take one step. Enough to break the illusion. And once you do that, everything changes. Because the moment you stop believing in tomorrow, you start taking control of today. And that is where real progress begins.